All right, folks, welcome to a video beyond the pitch. You've been spared. Myself and Martin, the two male models, our faces for quite a while, so we're here to bring it back to you. And they've been off a drink for a while, and I'm not plushed in the face from alcohol withdrawal, mate. Oh, how you doing, mate?
Good, yeah. Just getting over a little sickness here, but otherwise pretty good, mate.
Yes, mate, same here. And I'm going to go ahead and tweet out this link here, so just bear with me for 1 second. Thanks to you who are starting to join the what is this called now? Google Hangout. I'm not quite as good as these as here as
I know exactly
Mark Goldbridge. Telling you, he's a genius. Okay, hang on. Let me tweet this out real quick, and then we'll get the business.
There we go.
All right, folks. First of all, thanks to all of you who are downloading the podcast, all the feedback and all that there. Was hoping to get one recorded with my co-host here this week, but unfortunately he picked up strep throat. But we'll talk about a lot of things here. We'll talk about, of course, the Manchester United draw in the Champions League. We'll take a quick look ahead, Martin. I know you don't have much time. We'll take a quick look ahead to the Burnley game this weekend, and are we in must-win territory for Mourinho already? Seems to be such division amongst United support about whether Mourinho's the right guy or not, and you see United fans on social media tearing each other to shreds. Champions League draw first. Well, mate, how's your reaction to that?
Well, I mean, I think if any of us are perfectly honest, I honestly don't think it really matters what group we would have got. I think any group for us at this point with what's going on was going to be a difficult group. It's good to see Ronaldo come home, obviously.
Yeah.
A little bit of a feel-good factor there about that. Would have been real nice to get Red Star Belgrade. You know, I think that would have been pretty cool. But I think any group we got with the way we're playing and the current feeling around the club, I think it would have been a tough draw. And obviously we got, you know, Juventus in there. And I just don't know. I don't know what I'm going to get from week to week. So it's tough to say. Is it a group we can qualify from? Absolutely. But I mean, let's be brutally honest. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised to see us dumped out in the group stages.
See, it's a group we can qualify from, but that really shouldn't be the question that they're asking themselves. The question should be, is this a competition that can win? The answer, of course, is no, they can't win. But, you know, the group itself, looking at it, should get through it. But I hate to say this, at the moment, I'm not confident where the next 3 points comes from.
Could get nothing, could get 3 points this weekend. It really doesn't matter. I mean, look, we'll get on to the game we just played in a few minutes here, but we were banging on about, I've heard in the press, it was such a great performance from United in the first half. I don't think it was that great. I think it was different. I think it was United on the front foot a little bit, but I think our standards have kind of dropped a little bit where we're seeing us be so defensive and so withdrawn and so deep. The first time we see us with any attack intent, it looks like maybe appears to be a lot better than it actually is. And let's be honest, what happened was Pochettino did his job at half-time, coached his boys, changed a couple of things around, and you know, United had no answer. Yes, Lukaku's finishing could have been a different story, but again, our plan B is throw Fellaini on, lump it long, and you know, same results.
But plan B finishes up much like plan A, because plan A never seems to work. It always looks like they've never played together and completely disjointed. So many people criticizing Mourinho, the press criticizing Mourinho. I thought he made a couple of really salient points to the media that I think needed to be amplified when he turned around and said, look, comparing all the other managers and ask what they've won and compared to me. There's no question that United are held to a standard that you're not held to anywhere else. People say Pochettino. Nobody at Manchester United would be happy with what Pochettino's doing at Tottenham. It's not enough just to play good football. You actually have to win trophies. So the question is, Martin, how long does Mourinho last? Because it looks predictable at this point about what's going to happen, but please don't assume Zidane's going to come in and fix everything.
Yeah, well, exactly. Yeah, there's no givens at all. We've no idea what's going to happen. But the frustrating part again is just Jose making it about Jose. It's I will go down as one of the greatest managers of all time, whether or not Manchester United win the title. So it's if they fail, it's Manchester United's failure. If they win, it's Jose Mourinho's triumph. The division to me starts right there. I don't like. I mean, whilst agreeable, we're starting to sound a little bit like Liverpool, aren't we? It's what have you done for me lately? It's not. Yes, you've won 8 titles. Yes, you've won it in 3 of the toughest countries. Absolutely. But the game moves on, and the game's changed a little bit. And he's got to show some flexibility. And we know Jose, and he's not going to show that flexibility. And Jose's not going to change overnight and all of a sudden play open, attractive, quick football.
All right, you see the game's moved on. I keep hearing this criticism of Mourinho. We sort of talked about this yesterday. Yeah. I don't think it has. I don't think football is dramatically different to what it was 4 or 5 years ago or 10 years ago. I think that what you see today, some of it is new vernacular for things that have been around for a long time. But a lot of it is just overcomplication and of we talk about multiple systems and stuff. I heard Pochettino talk about this and say, look, systems and all, it's all overrated, and I'm not saying that it doesn't have relevance, but the idea that certain players can only play in certain systems, if that's you, if you're a player and you can only play in certain systems, that speaks volumes about your intelligence, and intelligence you can't coach. I do believe there are players that play well in certain systems and some that don't. Those are not particularly great footballers, being Chris Smalling and Phil Jones. You can't win a Premier League with Phil Jones and Chris Smalling as your centre-back pairing. Was the Ander Herrera decision the other night a statement?
Yes. I mean, and if it's not, then he's gone mad. Just backtrack a second. You've covered there a little bit on what our off-air discussion was about the game being changed. But, one major way that we agree on that the game has changed is, I hear a lot of it. There's there's not a Roy Keane out there. There's not a Robbo. There's not somebody bollocking the players. But you can't do that anymore. No way. The bosses can't get into the grills and really get after these players, because what happens, whether it's, and we're talking about academy players all the way up to full pros. The second that happens, the second the gaffer gets in their face and gives them a grilling, gives them a roasting, what happens? Hey, Mr. Agent, I'm on the phone. Get me out of here. Where's the next place? Who wants me next? There's a big way in the game, in the way the game has changed. The way you have to treat your players, for want of a better word, they're not as tough as they used to be. They can't take a bollocking and move on. Did they know there's 5 other suitors who will pay 100 million for you? So that way the game has changed, and that way I feel for Jose a little bit, because your hands are tied slightly. But I disagree in the systems. I mean, we look back and we spoke about it again. Let's just take the Fergie years. Ultimately, you play, in a couple of different systems. Occasionally you play a 3 at the back, and if you played a 3 at the back, it was more as you were chasing the game and trying to get a goal. Whereas 3 at the back sometimes today seem a little bit more defensive to give more stability in the middle of the field. I remember back in the day, like I said, when you went to 3 at the back, it was because you were lumping a big man up front and you were chasing a game, and that's not the case anymore. It's a lot more tactical about that. You've seen the old adage of the number 10. This diminutive number 10. Well, during the Fergie years, when was that ever mentioned? The number 10 position.
Well, he tried to incorporate number 10s, they never could.
But it wasn't a number 10. It's a thing now.
It's just a name for a playmaker.
It's a name for a playmaker, but I mean, you're seeing more strategy, and you're seeing, maybe not strategy, that's the wrong word, but you're seeing more tactical nous. I don't know, maybe you're seeing more the difference of formations. It was 4-4-2, 4-3-3, the occasional 3 at the back. Now you're seeing your 4-1-4-1, your 4-4-2s, your 3-5-2s, your 3-4-3s, your 4-4-1-1, your false 9s, your no central strikers, your 10s, your 6 line deep, your midfield 3-1. It goes on and on and on. And that goes back to your point there, when the intelligence of some players, and my view that I addressed yesterday was, there is a lot of players now, and a lot of the top players are involved in this are system players. And they can play, and they look like world beaters in a certain system. Take them out of their comfort zone and put them in a different system. It takes then the top coach to incorporate that new system in, or you're seeing a poor player.
All right. So
Ander Herrera.
But to be fair to Ander Herrera, he's not a centre back, Martin. No. And that's not system. That's positional. You take a player as a central midfielder who is 5'8" or 5'9", stick him in a centre back, but between 2 centre backs who don't talk. Because I know Lindelof gets slaughtered, and look, Lindelof just looks like a kid to me that is petrified of playing for Manchester United. I don't doubt it. I think he does. So he's not alone. But I will say this for Lindelof that I don't see with Jones, I don't see with Smalling. He still has big bollocks. He's still willing to organise. He still wants the ball even after making mistakes. Look, he's a young mid-central defender. Ideally, Martin, he is in a centre-back pairing or a centre-back three with experienced defenders that are able to coach him through a game. But he's not getting that. He's getting no benefit of Jones and Smalling. He's basically had them babysit both of them by himself. And, you know, you talk about that back three. That I feel sorry for Lindelof. It's not a back three or a back four that you would put a young player in. It's very, very difficult. So there's that problem.
Throwing Herrera in there, and your point about was it a statement? It was a statement. I tell you what, but what a time to use to make a statement.
But that's what I was about to say. If he's making statements on the third day of the season,
you've got Lindelof on the bench, and you've got Young on the bench. You could have took Valencia in, you could have took Young in, or you could have just gone with a back four because you don't have enough centre backs. It's a wrong time to make a statement, and ultimately a mistake was going to come from Herrera because he's not used to the position. And ultimately, the goal there where he's 10 yards behind everybody else, you know, playing an offside line. That's what happens when you've not played the position. That's not on Herrera.
So
it's a wrong time to try and make a statement, and you know, to come out and say, "Yeah, well, that's all I have." Well, it wasn't all you have. Because
how many people in the media give Mourinho credit for Luke Shaw getting back in the England team?
Nobody. And there's the other one. Fantastic. I mean, he's been outstanding. And look, we're all very quick to jump on Jose when he was hammering him publicly. Mm-hmm. Hey, look. We can point to him. I mean, Luke Shaw has clearly made some changes because, as we both know very, very well from our sources inside other clubs, this isn't the first time this has happened to Luke Shaw, where he's, you know, temperament's being questioned, his character's being questioned, his fitness is being questioned, all the above in almost every club he's been at from several different coaches. So Jose wasn't wrong. Maybe he was wrong in the way he did it, but look at what he's doing now. He deserves massive. He deserves credit that he's not going to get. He's a Man United manager. You know, he's. Right. They love to hate us. So.
What did you make of his when he left the pitch the other night? Mourinho's really smart, and he knows exactly what he's doing by standing and picking out a small segment of the fans and standing there, being clapping them. And when you talk about making statements, that was another statement.
Yeah.
Okay. It was not just.
I love the fact. I did love the fact that he was going. He went straight over to Luke Shaw.
Yeah,
you know, straight over to Luke Shaw and put his hand, because Luke Shaw looked devastated, and you know, I think that's the kind of thing that I miss certainly. You know, he needed to be picked up there because he had a great game. The bit with the Stretford end at the end, it was all a little bit weird. It's so much of what Josie does is for show, and to get a response. You know, like you say, it's making another statement. It's making a point. It's making a point to the board that, you know, the togetherness is there. You know, whether the board agree or disagree. Look, the fans are applauding us, and you know, the fans were right behind the team even after getting beat 3-0.
All right. So the other question is, players take responsibility too. What players would you blame for United's current plight? Who would you say should be criticised? All of them. All of them. You don't think any of those players deserve to be? I
think you've got to take Luke Shaw out. I think Luke Shaw has been. I think he's been the one bright spot. I really do. I think he's been the one bright spot, personnel wise. You know, on the season, in the early season so far. I mean, everybody's got to take a part of the blame. I don't care whether you agree with this, whether you agree with the tactics, you agree with the system, you agree with the style of play, you like the manager, you hate your manager. It does not matter. You're employed ultimately by Manchester United Football Club, and you've got 75,000 fans and millions of fans worldwide tuning in, making the trips to the ground, spending good money, you know, living and breathing and dying by the club. You've still got to put in a performance. Paul Pogba's 5-yard pass that he was perhaps blaming Valencia for not checking his bad. That's not Jose Mourinho's coaching. Nope. That's on nobody else but Paul Pogba. And Paul Pogba, quite frankly, is wandering through games like it's a testimonial. And it's embarrassing.
Why is Paul Pogba getting a captaincy and then a week later saying he has attitude problems? If you've got attitude problems a week after being named captain, that's a serious problem. And Mourinho, once again, done the right thing by saying to Pogba, here's a captaincy, now give me a response. And a week later, he let him down.
Yeah, prove yourself. Prove yourself and show everybody you can be a leader, and show everybody you're that World Cup player we know you are. And you're right. There's just far too many bang average performances from Paul Pogba at United. You know, and what's behind it all? Look, if it's the manager, it's the manager. But at this point, you've paid all that money and you're getting such a ridiculous sum of money per week. That's all goes out the door. You've got to go out there and perform. And you just see, I mean, we've seen him in all right, preseason, we know, but we watched how much ground he can cover, and you know how good and how effective he can be when you're actually there in person watching what he does. I mean, the guy's incredible. But what we're seeing on a week-to-week basis with the lack of consistency is just shocking.
It can make you look really stupid because you can praise him.
Yeah.
And next week he looks horrendous.
Even I know I'm a massive Paul Pogba, but even I'm at the point where would you miss him at this point?
I missed the best Paul Pogba just simply.
Yeah, but that's not what I'm asking. I'm asking the Paul Pogba we're seeing, the inconsistency, the wandering around a field like it's a testimonial, because that's the Paul Pogba. We've not got the best Paul Pogba right now. I'm talking about the Paul Pogba we've seen right now, and for his time at Manchester United. If you take that entire time, you know, as a whole, I don't think there's very little to miss in a consistency for what we know he's capable of and how he can grab a game and win a game on his own. You know, it's not been there enough yet. And you know, the players in there, so we got to unlock it and find out what the problem is. But signing 3-4 players to try and get the best out of Paul Pogba should not be the answer.
When you are, yeah, exactly, that's the other problem. But when you're making a guy like Paul Pogba captain, and Paul Pogba, your captain has to lead by example. So if Paul Pogba is going to go out and stroll through a game and knock aimless passes and not really care and give the body language off that doesn't really care, well, what does that say to everyone else? Because to me, when I look at the culprits, he is one of the main culprits for me. I think he's been really, really indifferent. I think his first game was excellent. The rest was poor. Andres Pereira was exceptional in the first game. Then Mourinho makes 6 changes, pulls him off at halftime against Brighton, then makes 6 changes. One of the things that Mourinho will do with you as a player is he's going to test your mental resilience, but he kills confidence of fragile players.
Why? Not just fragile players, because I don't even think Fred's a fragile player, and I'm already seeing
the deterioration of the whole. But I think that's the whole atmosphere at the club.
It could well be. It could well be, because I think there's a player there, by the way. I think he's got a nice little bit of bite about him.
Of course, I like him.
Yeah, I do too. But I'm concerned. I mean, look, I want to say. Here's the problem I have. What formation are we going to play on Sunday? Who's going to play? Who's going to play in the back?
I would say 9-1-1. 9 at the back, 1 in the middle, 1 up front, and that 1 up front is fully. I don't know. I mean, and I'll tell you right now, Burnley.
So we're still
is a hard game.
Even with away at Burnley. Yeah, I mean, I can't believe.
Now you're going to get tested. Now your players.
You are going to get tested for sure. But I mean, now we're still talking. Now the World Cup players are all back, and we're still talking about. What are we going to throw out there? What is the best formation? What is his favorite formation, and what is his favorite team? Because we're no closer to knowing.
The other question is: are we sitting here saying 3 games in we're completely redefining what would be successful out of the season? I mean,
well, maybe not based on United, but I think what you have to do. I mean, you got to be careful how you word it, because redefining the success, yes, but it's also based on, look, City aren't going to drop many points. And I hate to say it, Liverpool aren't going to drop an awful lot of points.
You see,
right? So I mean, there's a danger, and a big danger of not only finishing 19 points behind City, but a substantial amount of points behind Liverpool.
Look, I know that Real Madrid are defined by Barcelona, and Barcelona defined by Real Madrid. All these great clubs are somewhat defined by what their rivals do. But see, United, Martin, I honestly don't care about Liverpool. I honestly don't care about City. If they go on and other than playing themselves, they don't drop a single point, that's great. What I want to see Mourinho do is just focus on Man United, because if I see an attacking team, a Man United team that's making progress, it's exciting to watch, that you can see what's happening, and they finish 3rd, I'm okay with that. I'm okay. I mean, look, I'm not saying I'm okay about every season, but I don't think it's imperative he wins the league this season to prove that manager. There has to be progress. There has to be emotional trust in what you're watching, that this team is going somewhere. It doesn't look like it's going anywhere.
Exactly. I mean, you're right. You take the season as a one-off. I don't think it was imperative you win the league, but you take his 3-year reign as a whole now, and I think it was imperative he got a title in the first 3 years. Maybe
Yeah, I would
hurt it,
say
but
I would say before you hire him, but I think when you know the situation now, would I settle for Mourinho turning United into an exciting, attractive team? Yeah, I would.
well, that's not going to happen, though, is it? Jose Mourinho's not going to change. Jose Mourinho's not going to change who Jose Mourinho is. We're not going to. There's not going to be a switch that flips, and all of a sudden, it's always going to be a slightly pragmatic approach, no matter what. We'll have occasional days where we do turn it on, you know. But I still look back and. And the defining moment in Jose's tenure so far is that Liverpool game away last season. The 0-0, we started so well. Went there, Liverpool were reeling, were shocking at the back, and we went there and parked the bus, quote unquote, parked the bus when they were there to be had. And I think maybe at that point a lot of doubt in the players started coming as well. If I was playing for a manager like that after the football, granted we haven't played anybody, but you know, the goals we'd scored, the football, the free-flowing with football we played, you know, hey, what was to lose? Go out there, you go and batter Liverpool away who were there for the taking. Can you imagine what that does for the feeling around absolutely everything? Instead, it was all of a sudden like, hang on a second, you've set us up like this in the first 2 or 3 games here, and all of a sudden, you know, we've come back to this, and it was like same old Jose stuff. And I think for me that's if we want to look at a point which in his tenure that's changed things, I'd look that far back.
Let me look at Anthony Martial's 5-year deal. Smarter than that.
Smart by who? I mean, in smart as in, do you want Jose to walk? Yes, right. Because you know Jose Mourinho is openly willing to sell a player, and then the board is saying no, you're not selling him. In fact, here you go, have another 5 years. Well, if that's not a slap in the face to the manager, then I don't know what is.
I agree.
End of the day, it's got to be a football. And again, another thing we spoke about. If that decision is made by a director of football, where it becomes a footballing decision, that I can swallow. But it's a decision being made by a board who have got no football interest whatsoever.
So here's my slight defense of a board on this. Anthony Martial. Peak value, £80 million footballer, maybe 7. If you get Anthony Martial in a run of form this season where he's exceptional and we plays his capability, he's a 50, 60, £70 million player easily. When you look at what's going in the market these days, a peak on form Anthony Martial is a massive asset. The club are saying, why are we going to let this guy go for now? Because that's what he leaves for at the end of the season, bar some compensation for training because you need to send him a certain age. It's going to be pittance, but the club are saying, you can still sell him, but we're not letting him go for free. He's going to be under contract when we sell him so we can get top dollar for him. The other question is, with the market being closed, surely it's incumbent upon Mourinho to want to get the best out of what he has. Martial's not leaving, and if Martial wants to leave in January, he can still go. You know, but for Martial to go now, same with Pogba, you have to put in some performances, son, or you don't go anywhere. If you want to go to Barcelona, you want to go to a top football club, and you think you're worth all that, then you need to be United.
You know, that's all correct.
I was in that situation now, Martin.
Yeah, but
why would anyone touch him?
I'll backtrack 20 minutes here, and we'll talk about how football has changed. Contracts aren't worth anything. Contracts aren't there for a footballer. Contracts are there to protect the asset, and that's what a contract's for now. I mean, you're telling me that let's take Anthony Martial as a single entity. Is he worth a new 5-year deal? Absolutely, he's not earned a 5-year deal. Give him a couple of years, but it's a money game, isn't it? I mean, it's a money decision, but you know, it's a money decision, not a footballing decision. He's not earned it. Yes, there's an incredible footballer in there, and again, it may be a scenario where it's just not going to work under Jose, and they're giving him that contract because he's going to outlast the boss.
When you look at the players that United have that are out of contract, I think there's something like 11 players, Martin, that contract is up. I had it here somewhere. I'll have to dig it out again. But you look at the number of players that are out of contract at the end of the season. It's truly unbelievable how many United players are out of contract at the end of the season. Everything this football club is doing is mimicking Arsenal and the ownership structure of Arsenal. We're going to let contracts now run down to the last year of the season. De Gea insulted. De Gea is the only legitimate world-class player that you could put your hand on your heart and say would walk into any team in the world, and United are messing him about down to the last year in his deal. If I was to hear, he could easily take control of the situation. United are exploiting players' desire to stay at the football club, and then they're going to do what Arsenal do.
There's absolutely no doubt he should be on the same amount of money as a Pogba and as a Sanchez.
He should have had a contract on a year ago at least.
Let's be honest. He should be the highest paid footballer at Man United right now.
Of course.
Plain and simple.
And so you've got a number of players that are down to the last year of their contract. United are deliberately dragging it out because they know a lot of these players are going to have pay raises, and they're looking at it and saying, we don't want to pay this too early. This used to happen in the transfer market where clubs would wait to the end of the window so as not to pay signing on fees and everything else prior. But if you look at it now, Martin, you're going, this football club is scarily resembling everything Arsenal do. Top four will do, delaying contracts from major players this as long as you can. Whatever, it's business goals, and that is a serious concern because this United are competing against people that are spending money to win trophies. United are spending money to make money, and that's the difference.
That's it. You hit on the head right there, and that's it. And it's not going to change anytime soon. That's why this board will be there long time, long after Jose.
We'll see what happens, folks. Thanks to all of you who've taken the time to watch this quick blurb. Our podcast, if you get a chance, go to Beyond the Pitch on Facebook and all that stuff. You'll find our content. The new website might be up to date. I don't know. I've been working on it for the last few weeks, so hopefully it'll be up and running. It'll be btpmedia.net. Thanks to all of you who download our shows, who follow us on Twitter. You can follow myself at Malakans Martin, at MJ Warwork. Of course, we'll be back after the game. MJ Warwork 7, sorry. And we'll be back after the game against Burnley. So some good stuff coming up next week. Folks, see you later. Martino.
Cheers, mate. Off we go. Bye.